Hello, my name is Eve. I like to talk about disturbing books and recommend them to you. Welcome back. Today we are talking about my favorite reads of 2024. I know 2024 is over, but I just wanted to go ahead and get this out of the way and give you guys some more recommendations. And then my next video is going to be talking about the books that I plan on reading in 2025, hopefully, because I reorganized all my bookshelves the other day and I realized I was like, damn, some of these books have been sitting here for a hot minute. And I always feel so bad and so guilty whenever I see a book that has been on my shelf for longer than a year and I haven't read it. I'm like, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. And I always like make a little pile of all the books that I want to read while I'm organizing my bookshelves. But let's get into this. These are my favorite reads of 2024. First up, we have Nightstalkers by Kristopher, Triana, and Ryan Harding. This book I loved for the simple fact of, as someone who has worked in retail and worked in the customer service, this book was satisfying. And I really loved that you could tell that both of the authors had worked in this field before because they were talking about KPIs and inventory results and all this other stuff. And it was just like fascinating and satisfying to hear them talk about it and mix horror into it. Because at the time when I was reading this book, I actually listened to it on Audible and I was managing a retail store at the time. So I was like stalking things and listening to this on Audible. And I was like, this is good. This is the life. And I was listening to it. I was like, they get it. They fucking get it. And I love that. Then we have A Crack in the Foundation by CM Guidroz. Fuck, girl, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should know how to pronounce your last name, but I don't. A Crack in the Foundation was so fucking crazy. It had me so stressed. It was about this guy who was like obsessed with this girl and he breaks into her house and her husband ends up like catching her cheating or something, and so he like assaults her and holds her hostage. And meanwhile, the guy that's obsessed with the girl who's getting assaulted, he's like in the closet in the basement just watching all this go down because he broke into the house to steal a pair of panties or something, and now he's a witness to all of this shit. I was like, I felt bad, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Then we have Sick Fuck by Ericmore. This was just this was just balls to the wall crazy. And I loved the person who, because I listened to all of these books on Audible. All of the Sick Fuck books I read on Audible, listened to on Audible. And whoever narrated them did such an excellent job. But it's essentially about this guy who does odd jobs for money and he'll just do whatever. Do whatever. And like he was he was assigned to light this church on fire. I think this is the second or third one that I'm talking about, but this will give you the idea of what you're getting into. He was hired to light this like church on fire or something for insurance money from the owner. So he lights it on fire and he lit it on fire on the wrong day because he was supposed to light it on fire when there was no one in there on a certain day, but he did it like a day or too early or something, and there were people in there. And the guy who had hired him to light it on fire called him and was like, "This is the wrong day. My wife, my kids were in there." I thought that was funny as fuck. I was like, that would be me if they hired me on to do some shit. That would be some shit I would do. I would not be able to be a hitman. I'd be like, "Oh, Wednesday of next week? I thought you said Wednesday of this week. I don't even know what today is. My bad." Then we have Headless by Scott Cole. I was so shocked about how much I liked this book for the simple fact of I'm not a big sci-fi person and I'm definitely not a big alien person. And that's what this book is following. It's following like mutant parasites rained down and started making people's heads explode. But it was written in the least cheesiest way ever. Like this sounds like something that would be corny and sounds like something I would fucking hate, and I loved it. Loved it. I'm definitely like the pile of books that I plan on reading in 2025. Scott Cole has a collection of short stories that I picked up from him at AuthorCon. And that book is in the pile because I remembered how much I love Headless. And also, the cover is gorgeous. Look it up, take a look at the cover because I don't have any editing software right now to fucking put the pictures of the books because I had to delete the editing software so I could record. But listen, 2025 is when I get a MacBook and start editing on there. Mark my words. I'm manifesting it. Manifest it for me, please. Then we have Carnivores by KL Allister. This book was amazing. Equal part, this was not only one of my favorite reads, but it was also on the most disturbing books that I've read in 2024. And if you know, you know. We're following this guy. He is asking for a promotion, and his boss essentially laughs in his face. And so he gets a promotion from the boss's boss or some shit like that. But in the process, he gets initiated into the Brotherhood. They're like, okay, if you want to work with us, you're going to have to start coming to these dinners because we're rich and we have fancy dinners. So he starts going to the dinners, and they're eating people. Eating people, love. And that's why I loved it. It was amazing. And the writing was amazing, and it was so gripping that I read it in one sitting. Adored. Then we have Devil's Rite by Dan Shrader. This was the first Dan Shrader book that I read, and I fell in love with the writing style. Like, it's one of those books that make you feel like you know exactly what's going on, but you don't. You don't. Because this guy gets out of the psych ward for killing his family when he was younger. And when he gets out, he starts seeing the creature that he thought killed his parents. And it just gets crazy. I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I don't want to spoil it. Amazing. Then we have White Bishop by Brandon Sanchez. This book, the cover is gorgeous, first of all. Second of all, I was so apprehensive about reading it because I thought it was going to be slow. I thought it was going to be boring. But I picked it up and I could not put it down. These people are on a ship. They're carrying cargo. What is the cargo? They got hired by some man to carry this cargo, and they don't even know what the fucking cargo is. And so everything starts becoming weird. All the food goes bad. They start going a little crazy. The wind isn't blowing. They don't know where the fuck they are. Oh my god, I was stressed. I was stressed. I didn't realize how much I loved books like this until I read this book. I was like, fuck, this is good. This is some good shit. Then, of course, we have Motel Styx by Michelle Vaughn and Jonathan Butcher. I feel like this is on a lot of people's lists for fave reads of 2024 just because this book was fucking iconic. Iconic. We're exploring the fact that necrophilia is legalized, and so therefore there are love motels where you can rent out the bodies. But our main character is going to this love motel to find his wife's dead body because she unalived herself. And so he's trying to get her body back. But the whole time we're trying to figure out why he's doing that. And then we find out and we're like, oh, okay. That's cool. Then we have Morsel by Audrey Rush. Guys, this is a dark romance, erotic horror. Shocker, I know. This was the second Audrey Rush book that I read. The first one I tried to read was My Girl, and I could not get into it, but I loved Morsel. It is essentially this guy that is like flirting with the idea of being a cannibal, and he meets a girl who's also flirting with that idea, and she's an artist, and they go into it together, and it gets weird. He starts sucking on tampons and sucking on toes and eating on toes, but it was amazing. And it really, after this, I think I read Skin by Audrey Rush. Was it Skin? I don't remember. It was something by her, and I was like, ooh, I like this. I think I might try to get back into My Girl because I've heard so many people rave about it. I might try it again. Let me know if I should. Then I have Staycation by RJ Clark. This book was a mind fuck. Mind fuck. I was recommended it JR on YouTube. Nope, JR on TikTok. He recommended this book to me so many times, and I finally read it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? So we are following this family, and they have this staycation where they are staying indoors for vacation, and there are some odd rules going on, and the dog's acting a little weird, and everyone doesn't really seem like normal. It gets really bad. It was fucking crazy, and I loved it. Then we have Saint Sadist by Lucas Magnum. This was a poetic book. This was the type of book that I felt like is A24 film vibes. We are following this girl as she just gets absolutely fucked over. She gets pregnant by her dad. She runs away and she joins like a cult. And it just goes all downhill from there. This book was absolutely amazing. I'm literally getting Saint Sadist tattooed on my knees because I loved it so much. The cover, again, is gorgeous. Please look it up. And then we have The Games We Play by Allistar B. Hayward. More people need to be talking about this book, guys. What the fuck? Why aren't more people talking about this book? This book is a thicker book, but it didn't feel like it. I think it's like around 300 pages. It felt like 150 pages. It's about this man who's a serial killer, and he gets his friend to like play a game with him. Um, and they start killing people like kind of together, but he acts like he's like, oh, how could you kill someone that is so fucked up? And then he just absolutely fucks over his friend, and it is the greatest thing I've ever read in my life. Like, I loved that book. I'm probably gonna reread that book this year because oh, it was so good. Then we have Morningstar Confessions by Matthew Lutton. Oh my god. This is one of the most, this and Saint Sadist. Oh, chef's kiss, if you will. There are so many quotes from this book. I'm probably going to have to go through. I actually just bought a physical copy because the author sent me a digital copy and I loved it so much that I bought a physical fucking copy. It should be here tomorrow. And I'm going to go through it and I'm going to highlight it because there are so many quotes that gave me goosebumps that I just speechless, absolutely speechless. It really makes you think about like morality and religion. And if you've ever questioned religion while you've been religious, this is a book that is just so satisfying. But essentially, we're following this preacher, priest, priest, this priest, and he is in the confession booth, and the devil is on the other side of this confession booth asking for forgiveness. And we're just hearing the retellings of some of the stories in the Bible, and it is just like fucking perfection. I love this fucking book so much. Like I said, this book and Saint Sadist, oh, so good. Then we have Bowery by Matthew Vaughn. This was equal parts a fave read, equal parts one of the most disturbing books I've read because we're following, okay, we all know Tinder is the flesh. I feel like this is Tinder is the flesh, but better because we are seeing it through the eyes of the the cow, the girl. So this girl gets abducted. She gets taken to a farm where all of the cows, all of the livestock are humans, women, essentially, like a lot of women. And we are taken around on the farm and seeing what is done. And oh, a lot of these women are pregnant. It gets rough. It gets really, really rough. I know there's a second one and maybe a third one. The first one is my favorite. First one is my absolute favorite. Then we have Crave by Crowley Barnes. Again, this is also on my other list for most disturbing reads, but this book was just so amazing. I loved how short it was. I loved how much it packed a punch, and this is definitely a book that I recommend to so many people because it was so interesting, so fascinating, and I just loved how obsessed the characters were with the body. So what happens is we're on a spaceship, everyone's asleep, three people wake up because they get an emergency wake up call or something like that to fix something. Fungus infects one of the people who woke up, and the other two people become obsessed with him, like want to eat him, want to have sex with him, want to just do so many things to him. And so they do. And everyone else wakes up, and it gets weird. It gets really weird. I loved this book so much. But that concludes my favorite reads of 2024. 2024 was such a good year for books. I devoured so many books, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to read. Reading is such a privilege, and I'm so happy to be able to do it. But the 11th marks my 2 months of sobriety. So cheers to that. I spent New Year's sober, which was honestly a lot of fun. I've been chugging these liquid deaths like they're going out of style, and a lot of zero sugar cherry Coke. So, if you have any recommendations for me for 2025, or if you want any particular videos, let me know. I hope everyone has a great day. I hope everyone had a happy New Year's, and we're going to kick 2025's ass. Watch me say this and then have the worst year of my life. Knock on wood. Goddamn. But I hope everyone has a good night. Bye!